What is up, everybody? Welcome back to racingdudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our Kentucky Derby contender videos. In this video, we're going to talk about Intrepido. Intrepido, a horse that is currently not in the field. So as of this moment, he is not in the field. However, he's just a couple of scratches away from being in. So I thought we better do a video on Intrepido because he's close. And, as we know, the Kentucky Derby, the weeks and even days leading up to the race, we can see some scratches. So 6 starts for Intrepido overall, 2 first, 1 second for him. 2 starts this year, 1 second place for Intrepido. Let's look at those results. You go back 4th in a maiden special weight on debut. That's not much to worry about when it comes to Kentucky Derby. And then got hot, won a maiden special weight at Del Mar, and before winning the American Pharoah Stakes at Santa Anita. That led to a race in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile where he was 5th, and then off for a bit, and then back as a 3-year-old a couple of races. The Robert B. Lewis, he was 2nd, very narrowly defeated 2nd, and then 4th in the Santa Anita Derby after a pretty wide trip, kind of left him, I would say, with a lot to do in that race. Now, pretty decent resume here. You would have loved to see him run a little bit better in the Santa Anita Derby, but, the other races come back to be okay. So let's look at the pedigree here. Sources by Maximus Mischief out of a Pleasantly Perfect mare. So, I don't know that it screams 1.25 miles. I don't know if it screams, hey, this is a Kentucky Derby winning pedigree, but it's not awful. That's for darn sure. And I think he could get 1.25 miles if he gets to try it on the first Saturday in May. Maybe some other horses are bred a little bit better than this one. There's no doubt about that. But, overall, this isn't a terrible pedigree. Running style for this horse, I think middle of the pack is probably where he'll land if he gets into the race. So you kind of hope that for a little bit of pace, if you see Intrepido in here. And look, I think last time out in the Santa Anita Derby, he kind of just was hung wide and on both turns and just kind of ran out of gas. But, if he could tuck in, save some ground, middle of the pack, that'd probably be a pretty good running style for the Derby and maybe one that he could have a little bit of success with. On the negative side of things, no wins in 2026. The 2 starts with no victories, only 2 for 6 lifetime. A couple other negatives. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile 5th. That's usually not, it's whatever. That's not that big a deal. Obviously, you want to win it or whatever, but the big problem with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile is, boy, all the horses coming out of it, they're not very good. They just did not turn out to be much. They didn't run very well as 3-year-olds. We've seen Brandt come back and not do anything. Litmus Test hasn't been able to do anything either. It's just one of those things that group didn't come back all that strongly. So kind of a negative there that, when we faced the better company, wasn't able to get the job done, not only in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but in the Santa Anita Derby as well. California Circuit, I think it's a little light this year overall. That's another kind of negative on this horse and a little bit of a worry on this horse. He may just be a little bit of a cut below. So final verdict on Intrepido for me. Don't hate him. I don't like him for the Derby, though. I think this is a horse that eventually can win a stakes race again, just like he did as a 2-year-old. Might have to be a little bit lower caliber race, but I think he can do it. But overall, he seems to be a long shot for the Derby. Not going to be one on my tickets. Again, he just needs to improve. He needs to get a little bit better. 2-year-old form hasn't really held up against some of the horses he was facing, so that's kind of negative as well. So I'm kind of out on Intrepido if he makes the field in this year's Kentucky Derby. All right, guys, make sure to check out the website for the Kentucky Derby Betting Bible. Once the week of the race gets here, all of our picks will be posted on the Betting Bible, so make sure to go purchase that today for all your help with the Kentucky Derby. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alert anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, stay tuned to the channel for more Kentucky Derby news.